on pinklinkpages.com. You can find links for all of these. Here's one from Catalyst. And what's interesting here, this is about women on the board. Mm-hmm. And what I found interesting is, you know, thank God Estee Lauder has almost 50% of women on the board. Now, one would expect that, you know, for a cosmetic industry. And then Avon as well. But once we get down to
well, but look at this. You know, I mean, you know, Estee Lauder actually it's 46%, and Avon is 45%. And as you said, you would think that they would have at least 50%.
At least 50%.
I mean, when you think that, you know, actually women are 51% of the population, so we're actually in the majority and still in the minority in every corporation in America. Every single one.
And that is sad. Now here's JCPenney's. Now they have a total of 12 board seats, and they have only 4 women. Who doesn't shop at JCPenney? I mean, at least once or twice. Well, and that we're all, you know, the women do.
Right.
You know, so.
Exactly. And what's startling also are the companies that have absolutely, I don't know if you printed that out, have no women at all on them.
No, I did not do that.
You know that.
But you can find that on her website.
That's on the website also, and it really is startling. There are a number of I don't want to be you know, say anything bad about any company, but if you go on the website, these are statistics from an unbiased organization that just gathers these statistics, and there are some major corporations that I can tell you I have been buying from on a regular basis that do not have any women in on their boards, and you know, if I choose not to buy from them anymore, well, that doesn't mean anything to them. But if many of us decide not to buy from them anymore until they start to take women seriously and make sure that they have leadership positions in their corporation, you know, if we are the major consumers, if we're buying 83% of the goods and services, it just makes sense that their customers, who are us, the women, should be represented with a voice on their board. I mean, that just goes without saying. It should. You know?
It makes sense to me that it would also increase sales. You know?
Exactly. Exactly. So. Well, you know, and it's funny because some of those organizations that have no women board members, as I was looking through them, I realized that it's funny, some of those stores don't really attend to women's needs. There was one in particular that I know sells a lot of jeans. And when I go in there, I
saw that, I was shocked.
They have big stacks of jeans, and as a woman, it's hard for me to pick up and the stack to be able to get to the one that I want. It's not a good system, the way that they have them. And again, I don't want to say names of companies or whatever, but I think that if they had a woman on the board, she might say, it's a little hard for us to pick up that much weight.
Yes.
It's simple things like that. Having the consumer's voice just makes sense. You really need to have us there.
Excellent point. Excellent point. So let's talk about this, the CEOs. Now I did see on a lot of the links that you had on your site about women, there are a lot of women in the managerial positions, but once it gets up to the board and the CEOs, then it's just, they're not there, they're just not there.
Yeah.
So tell us more about Pink Link Pages, and so you got these people from all these different countries from LinkedIn. So you're on LinkedIn as well.
Oh, yes.
With Pink Link.
Yes, and what's cool about Pink Link is once a woman signs up with Pink Link, if she's a woman-owned business, then we invite her to join an exclusive group on LinkedIn that is only for the women who have signed up and posted their listing on Pink Link Pages. We envision having a community at some point on Pink Link Pages, but for now this is a way for us to give the women an opportunity to communicate. And what's so cool about that, Ingrid, is it has already, this little LinkedIn group has already spurred some international commerce.
about that?
We had a woman in Texas and a woman in South Africa who were able, they both were in the same line of business. One was an importer, one was an exporter, and they were able to communicate with each other. And is that cool?
That is awesome.
And that was only in our first 2 weeks.
Wow.
You know, so a number of other women have written in and told us about opportunities that they've had to talk with women and, you know, encourage their businesses and, you know, and support one another, and, you know, that there are business dealings going on. So not only is Pink Link Pages great for the consumers to be able to know which businesses are owned by women and be able to buy from them, but it's also fantastic for the women who are signing on, because they're getting the opportunity to have these additional networking and, you know, business support, you know, supporting activities where they're actually buying and selling with each other.
Now, tell us your criteria for to be eligible to sign on to Pink Link Pages.
Well, you have to be a woman. That's you know, okay. I know we laugh.
I think I got that down.
No, you would think so, but we've had 3 men already who've tried to sign up. You know, I think, you know, well, the economy's tough, and, you know, everybody's trying to find an angle, right?
Yeah, but we're trying to level the playing field.
Exactly. Here. And, you know, as
not
I said,
discriminate.
well, exactly. It's not about boycotting men's businesses, but let's face it. We have, at Pink Link Pages, we have a goal. And our goal is that we would like to raise the revenues of women-owned businesses by 2% over the next 5 years. I say 3 to 5 years. I'm a little optimistic. You know, but I'll take 5 years. If we can raise the levels, the revenues of women-owned businesses by 2% in 5 years, that would be a 33% increase. Think about it. They only make 4% right now. If we got them to 6%, that would be huge. The impacts would be enormous.
Yes.
You know, women would then have more opportunities for all women, not just the women in business. All women would have more opportunities for better employment. All women would have more access to capital. All women, you know, because they would start taking women-owned businesses more seriously, because the banks would see all of this activity happening with women-owned businesses. And, you know, women-owned businesses would also you know, help to lead the social and political issues with regard to the workforce. So things that affect women specifically, like sexual harassment prevention, so you know, such as equal pay issues, such as family leave issues, things that specifically seem to lean more toward, you know, women's issues. We would have a much larger voice in those topics. So
wouldn't that be great?
It would be amazing. You know, and the thing is, you know, guys, you'd still have 94%. I mean, seriously, it's not about boycotting men. You know, men would still have 94%. That, you know, I mean, you talk about the lion's share, but you don't have to be so greedy to have everything. You know, you got to give us a, you know, you got to let us try for ourselves to get up a little bit. And if we could move it up 2%, that would be an amazing accomplishment.
Yes. Yes. Now you also are involved in a writers group with op-ed pieces.
Well, yeah, you know, it's funny.
Women writing and speaking, and getting their opinion out.
We've been talking, we've been doing the women's writers group since November of last year. And this is an opportunity for women to come together and just, you know, kind of share their writing. And, you know, we have a mind that, you know, at some point we'd like to put together a magazine of women's original artwork and literary works.
Oh, I love that.
That it would be wonderful.
Love that.
But, you know, in doing this, and again, in doing some research about it, I found out that women don't write op-ed pieces, or opinion editorials is what they're called, for the newspapers.
At least it's a quirky sound.
Yeah. Women are only writing about 15% of the op-ed pieces. And when you get to a newspaper like the Wall Street Journal, you're talking about 2% of the op-ed pieces are written by women. And that's horrible. And so what I've been saying to the women who are coming to the writers groups is, if we really want to be taken seriously in the world, we need to have our voices be heard. Not only do we need to coordinate our purchases, you know, with pink link pages, but we need to start speaking out into, you know, to the newspapers and things like that. You know, we need to be able to talk about what our thoughts are, what our needs are, what our wants are, what is the society that we envision. And frankly, this is what bothers me. 100 years from now, none of us are going to be here. Well, maybe some, but very few of us will be left, you know, that are living right now, you know. And the people looking back at the history of this time are going to think that the women were stupid, because the women aren't saying what they think. So you know, my thought would be, if I was looking at newspapers in history and I saw that women weren't writing anything and women had nothing to say, you know, well, they must not have known. They must have been, you know, just too busy doing other things. They must not have been aware of the political or social issues. Well, that's just not true. Right. You know, we are absolutely aware. The problem is that women are doing so many things and they're so busy, they're not taking the time to write it down. But it's crucial and very important that women write down what their opinions are and begin to grab hold of the opportunities that are now available to them. The internet is making the playing field much more level and giving us the opportunity to, you know, as I said, work together as a coordinated team. You know, I call it unionizing women, you know, bringing us together and giving us the opportunities that we certainly deserve and are more than capable of.
Now, you had a woman who asked you an interesting